hello to the ones watching the recorded live, because usually nobody's on the live right now because it just is going out there. But I decided today to release the course of unmarketing yourself on LinkedIn. After developing it and creating it, doing all the stuff and realizing that I just want the people who want to take it. And I'm not in the training business, haven't been in the training business for a long time, and decided I didn't want to go back into it on a, selling a course to, to individuals and one at a time, because I just rather have the information out there. And it's really led me to a great place in relationships and in business. And what's the point of keeping all the stuff up here if you can't share it out that way? And we have different ways. We have our books. I'm looking at our books kind of spread out all over the place here. We have books, and then we have videos, and there's videos of my talks. There's 300 episodes of our podcast out there. And you look at it and say, okay, so how can we help? And what can we do? And, well, Christopher, so nice to see you. I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a very long time. I love that man. He's a wonderful human. And, you meet people in your life, and you also care about their opinion on how things look and sound, because they're a pro and they're really good at this stuff. And so thank you. I appreciate that. And you bet it is Ecamm. I watched all this, as we finish up wrapping up year 2 of being in this basement. You learn certain things of what you can and can't do. And hi, Stacy. Long time no see. Good to see you on here. And so it was a question of, what do you gain from, releasing a course for free? Because as some of I've been on the internet for a long time, since 94, 95. And learning a lot in the internet marketing side of things originally. And there's just a lot of kind of bait and switch. There's a lot of, hey, this is free, but there's a condition. And, for those of us that have been around for a long time, we remember that, a lot of the free shipping, the free book tactics, but pay for shipping and blah, 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 blah. And it was just, for me, it just feels good to give it away. It doesn't cost me anything. For you to watch it. It doesn't cost me anything for you to consume it, for you to learn from it. And nor do I have anything against people who do sell courses or do sell anything. I have nothing against that. But our business and our business model is, we make some money from the books, and then we make the brunt of our money of me doing talks virtually and in person. And so this is something that we don't have to spend the focus on doing the promotion and the rollout and trying to do the upsell at events and getting people to get it. I just want people to watch and hopefully enjoy it and get a couple tips, because the main thing about do you all want to intimidate me more? Chris comes on, and then Amber. This is the royal couple of content, like of media. Hi, Amber. It's good to see you too. If I could pick people who would drop into this broadcast, there's just 2 people right there I would have already brought in as well, of just solid people, of just people that you're glad you've come across in your life. So I'm very thankful for both of you. And hello. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Michelle, that's the name, just like my Allison here. You can get that Michelle with 2 L's sometimes, and an Allison with 2 L's sometimes. And I learn, as somebody who signed books too at event and stuff too, you don't want to screw that up. A 1 L Michelle is usually pretty adamant it's 1 L, and same as a double L, and same for Allison. So hello. And well, then you're together in the studios. I don't know why we're not doing something together in our studios combined, but hello. Miss you guys like crazy. So hopefully I'd love to see you one day. and hang out because you all fill my soul. So when you look at the course and you get these upsells and registrations and what people try to do as a lost leader, like I thought about, making the course a bonus if you signed up for the unnewsletter, but then again, I haven't written a newsletter in, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, but so it's not too much of a point to send people that way. And it really is, it's just trying to help makes me feel good. And so one of my focuses for a while now is just find the things that make you feel good, that make you smile, or make you just, try to fill your own cup up as well. And this fills mine. It makes me feel good. So, I just saw this notification. Congrats on the new project. Thank you very much. My name's a doozy. Initials are easier. Bonus points for my initials having an ego. So how do people do that for you? They call you like EG? Is that what? Or throw your actual name on there too, and I'll love to take a look at it. And by the way, also thank you for your support. I always see you come up on things, and I really do appreciate it. And I really do notice it, and that's one of those things. And we talk about it in the course, is about your social currency, and that when you give, others receive. And when you have a group of people, and let's say you have, this is not new, this is not something new, but if you have 10 people together and they're all giving to the other 9 or whoever needs it, everybody is receiving. And that's what I really believe in social currency and social media in general, is that they're supposed to be communities. And if they're not communities, then it's just people talking into the ether. And I've always believed that. All right. So, yes, they say EG, but it's Amelia Gisapina. Gisapina? Want to give it a go? You tell me how close I was on that, yeah? Finally, a Scot chat at a reasonable time in New Zealand. What's up, New Zealand? Hello from Canada. I'm dying to go to New Zealand. Never been. And I won't do the insult to you that I say, I've been to Australia. It's because I know it's not the same place. And as a Canadian, when I talk to somebody overseas and they're like, oh yeah, well, I've been to America. I'm like, well, we're Canada. So yeah, we're right there, but we're not the same thing. So Kim, it's fabulous. I'm sending this thing to my team. Well, thank you. I hope they enjoy it. You can have it, share it, put it out there. I don't care. You can embed it. Whatever you want to do, it's for yours to take and hopefully enjoy. Geosapina. Yeah? Is that good? I do like how you spelled it for me. It's very nice of you. So, and in the course itself, I think I can probably bring it up here. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring up the whole playlist here. Let me do that. I'm gonna bring up the playlist here. See if I can. Let's see if I know how to. There we go. It's still there. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to make this work. Oh, don't do this. All right. So this is the course. So the first part you see at the top here, that is in kind of the beige look here, that's the core concepts. So I figured that before you got into specific LinkedIn kind of tactics or things I do, I hate to call them tactics. Look, social currency and what I'm talking about with UnMarketing, it's not a tactic to me. It's not a. Let me switch back over here for a second. Look, relationships aren't a tactic for me. Conversation isn't a campaign for me. I want to connect with people. That's why I've always loved social media. That's why I always loved the internet. I've loved the internet for 2 reasons. 1, unfiltered information that I can read and consume. And 2, communities that don't have to be physically close to you. And so unmarketing isn't a tactic. I don't want to go cheesy on you, but it is a mindset. It is the thought saying that we can all get what we need. We can all grow. We can all both grow personally and in business without kicking people off a rung on a ladder. That the very start of unmarketing 20 years ago was about not being a hypocritical marketer, not marketing the way you hate to be marketed to. I really believe if you connect with people and you love what you do and you're passionate about your stuff, it's contagious. And when there's a need for your product or service at a point in time, people will think of you. And I'm living proof of that. So these things aren't a tactic for what I do. But I'll go through this. So this is the core stuff at the top. This is the core stuff at the top here, which is why people buy, which is the hierarchy of the buying. Hierarchy of buying is for one of the first things we made for unmarketing like 20 years ago. Sales Cloud is about purchasing decisions and how much decisions kind of go into purchasing before you reaching out to you, which is why cold calling is a less desirable type of tactic. Third Circle is something we're really proud of about things go viral, why content spreads. And so all these first lessons here, these core concepts are applicable for anything. So those first part aren't written about LinkedIn. They're in general about unmarketing. And then when you get into the blue thumbnails here, these are LinkedIn specific. So conversation isn't a campaign, kind of sets it off. And then it's really about both connecting and then content. And then, things like endorsements and testimonials and giving your social currency and going through these things. So it's an important side of stuff. And exactly. Bringing the social back to social media. It's good to see you on here too. It's been a long time. I truly believe in what you say, preach, Scott. It's all about building relationships over time. I'm glad you agree. EG says it is a tactic on how to be genuine and not Tinder for business. And that's really it. We don't have to have a relationship that's transactional. And I really I've never believed in that. And I don't connect with people or network or become friends or help or whatever to get something out of it. I have a skill set. You have a skill set. Like I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to the one person that's watching right now. But I'm talking to you right now. A skill set, talents, different things we all bring to the table. And the problem is we just kind of we're made to feel sometimes that we aren't good enough or that we just don't know what we're doing. And I hate to break it to you, but none of us know what we're doing. We're just making educated and uneducated guesses and hoping it works out. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And so that's what we did with this course. Kind of went through the good and the bad and why I think these things, and why I get so adamant about things and passionate about things. And I always, I used to always say I get angry about stuff, and it's passion. I give a damn about people and about, what they do in their business. And I don't believe business and personal are two separate things. I can't stand when people say that. I can't stand when people say it's not personal, it's business. I want to say it's nothing business, it's personal, because it all is. My business is personal to me. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and own a company and stuff, but it doesn't matter. But even more so when you work for somebody, it's even more personal because a lot of that is it's held over your head sometimes, and every decision's personal because it's made by people. That's it. And I've made decisions. I used to be in HR. I fired people. I fired a lot of people because we closed stores. When I worked at Goodwill, we had to do these things. It doesn't mean you can't do those things. It's just don't say stuff like that. It hurts, because it is personal for that type of stuff. So yeah, the course kind of goes on to a lot of those type of things, and it's real quick. Each lesson is mostly 10 minutes or less. just kind of give you a gist, kind of give you a jumping off point, and hopefully kind of refocus the goggles in a different direction if that's what you're up for. Because a lot of people have been told how to use. Hi, Michelle. A lot of people are being told to use LinkedIn like a virtual cold call. And we wrote a piece on the blog years ago about warm spam. It's worse than spamming people. It's warm spam, which is you request a connection with somebody and you're like, oh, somebody wants to connect with me. It makes you feel good. It does. Every time I get a connection request, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like you wanted to connect. And then you get hit with automatically a direct message saying, hey, I want to sell you something or whatever. And that pisses me off. It really does. And I'm not here for you on LinkedIn. And you're not here for me on LinkedIn. We're there for ourselves because we want to connect, but it's self-driven. And if you just understood that on whatever level you want to understand that, LinkedIn becomes a lot easier. It does. It used to be the Rolodex. I'm dating myself. It used to be the Rolodex. It used to be, we'd look it up, and I used to think, I've been on LinkedIn since, 1976, and it was a place that it's recruiters. You should be just recruiters. It was a great place, and I always told people if somebody in your organization updated their LinkedIn profile, it's because they're looking for a job. And speaking of people we think are wonderful, it's Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee. Good to see you. Kaylee, you've been hauling ass on doing the interviews and the podcast. You are a freaking natural. Keep going. Keep going. You're a force to be reckoned with now, and you'll be more so in the future. Keep going that way. We love you, Kaylee. Thank you for being you. Kaylee was our person, one of our contacts at Emma. We had a sponsorship deal with them, but I never thought it was it never felt like a sponsorship deal. It was just the coolest thing ever. And that we got to be able to be partnered with them. And it was actually a partner. It really felt like a partnership. And it's only as easy as the people who are your connections and your contacts. And it was people like Kaylee and Rachel and Cynthia, and that way we just adore. So Kaylee, it's wonderful. Wonderful seeing you. How is Edmondson Acres doing? And I have not seen the newest pictures of it, but also I've seen the precious young human. You have. Miriam says, "Do you totally get it? Love it." Well, thank you. I get it for me, because this is one of the things I'm not right. Like this course, this isn't about doing LinkedIn the right way. There's no such thing. It's subjective. So if you join LinkedIn and your goal is just to get as many leads as possible, and you do, then that's success on LinkedIn for you. LinkedIn just it's there. It's hosted on multiple servers and places, and it's whatever we make it, which is why I sometimes get weirded out by people saying, things like you shouldn't post that on LinkedIn, or that's more for Facebook or more for this. And that's just not the case. It's just not. People can do whatever they want. You choose whether or not you want to follow them or connect with them or unfollow or unconnect with them. So it's important. Rob says, I know you say I'm not here for you in the context of the discussion, but I'm glad you're here for us. You're such a good dude and inspiration. You sent me a signed book when I posted about reading UnMarketing at MRI 3 years ago. That made a huge impact. Oh, thank you, Rob. Thank you. You know what? I feel about the books the same way I feel about this course. I don't want to sell them. I know my publisher doesn't want to hear that. I don't like selling. I want to help. And the fact that the books have done well and that we have 6 of them, potentially a 7th with Unleadership that's going around our brains right now, I just rather give it. So like when you posted about reading UnMarketing and it's an older version, it hurts a bit in my gut because we updated it and things have changed a bit, not in the core concepts, but in in some of the applications. And So when I see that, I'm in a privileged place of being a published author that's had some success that I can send a copy, and I rather do that. Like think of the exchange too, Rob. And it's not like I have to be careful because I've talked about unmarketing, and you got to do it the way I've talked about it. And I don't want to contradict myself. Unmarketing and all that stuff in there is Allison in my brain, and so I can't contradict it because it's literally how we are. Now, Rob, how different would it have been if you posted about that? And I said, do you have what version, what, which one do you have, or how old is it? And you're like, yeah, I have the first version or the second version. And I came and said, well, you can buy the new updated one. That's just not the way. And, also I hope the MRI was okay, and I hope everything is okay now. And I'm glad the book had an effect on you. And, I just love, we've sent hundreds of books to people, and I love doing it. I love it. And the fact that we have a book, let alone books, to do is the coolest freaking thing ever. It's the coolest. Yeah, so always on leadership, a spoiler alert for 2022. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be a talk for sure. Will it be a book? Maybe. You have to ask the other half of this duo. She's the writer, so whether or not. And I think it will be. I think because we both have to have a fire about the topic. We both have to have a passion about it, or it just won't work. We've always been that way, both about the show and books and content and videos. But I do feel it. So I do, yeah. And Rob says, yeah, we're good. I mean, all things considered. See, but this is the difference. When you, so what I mean, like when you wrote that, I do care, and that's how we should be. You know, you never know when somebody tweets or posts or says anything what they're in, what position they're in, and I'm really glad you're good, all things considered. You know, I appreciate that. Yeah, Eugene. A lot of entrepreneurs and thought leaders start from a position of what will sell and go from there. Unmarketing starts with what will help, and we make it easy as possible. And that humanity and empathy, in addition to the expertise, is what makes them unparalleled. Oh, I see what you did there. I know. I saw what you did with early on. Well played. Eugene, good to see you. Eugene is a salt of the earth human, and you should say hi to him. Also, a hell of a musician. And Rob says, I actually had an author reach out to me and say there's a newer version of that, and that's the end of the convo. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I don't blame authors, because there is the flip side to this, which is people think that us as authors like just have a warehouse of books that we can send. And when I would send books out to people, a lot of the time, we order them from Amazon, and just they drop ship them there. And people who would read a book of ours and read the whole thing and talk about it is the most flattering thing ever. The people took their time to read our stuff, and they could have been reading anything else or doing anything else. And they say, we want to learn from you. And to Allison and I, that is the hugest compliment. Hugest. The worst thing you can do is waste somebody's time. You know, relatively, but it's terrible. Or they feel like they've been conned or taken or is not there, and that's a really important thing to remember. But I also understand from authors, you know, we make on average 85, 90 cents a book, maybe, in royalties. And I got no problem with that. I know the deal. I know what the books have two purposes. One to help, and the other helps get me on stage too. So, and Rob says, if floors me, you remember that it was an older version. My Jackass Whisperer socks just blew a hole in them too. One of my favorite pairs. I hate to tell you this, Rob, but I got a case of those in the garage. Just send me a message on LinkedIn again. I ain't letting you walk around with Jackass socks with holes in them. So shoot me an address again in a direct message on LinkedIn, and I'll get you a new pair. And I'll get you some more stickers too, because we got some more Jackass stickers. Can't have holes in your socks. Yeah. Drop me a line. I'll send you a pair. Yes, I never found LinkedIn useful in my previous role, but helpful now that I am with the Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce and do my best to create community content on the site. Love it. By the way, our second oldest is currently going to Laurier. I'm living in a house right now in Waterloo, although school's all virtual. Okay. Miriam says, this is great. Scott and Allison, you're awesome. Have to drop off. Enjoy. Take care, and thank you for that. Again, if you're just joining us, UnMarketingAcademy.com, it actually just redirects to the playlist for the course. No upsell, no cross-sell, no side sell, whatever term you want to use. Reading footnotes always feels like a waste of time. Until I read UnMarketing, you got me scanning to the bottom of every page to read those first. Yeah. Mission accomplished. So the origin of the footnotes, for those that haven't read any of our books, a lot of them are sarcastic, or it's a place where you kind of throw a joke in. My mind was given permission to do that after reading Bill Simmons' book of basketball. And I loved it. Loved the book. I was a huge Bill Simmons fan at the time. I've just dropped off kind of following his stuff. But his footnotes were killer. They were hilarious. And so I just put them into the book. And when I first started doing my first draft, the train wreck draft of UnMarketing, and then Allison came along and made it all much, much better. And Rob, your day just got better. Mission accomplished. There you go. Mission freaking accomplished. That's what I'm here. A LinkedIn user. So I'm sorry, I don't know who this is. Sometimes with LinkedIn and the permissions, it doesn't allow your name to come through. But it says, does your oldest like virtual university experience? We've been pretty. We're very fortunate that our 5 children are. They're really good and kind, and they don't complain a lot, and so they've been getting through it. And obviously, this is not the experience they want, but you do what you gotta do. We're all very privileged that they can go to post-secondary, that we can afford to send them, that we live in a country that doesn't cost the astronomical amount to send your children to post-secondary education, and so you take it in stride, and you'd rather them be in class, but I don't rather them be in class right now. Queen's University just told everybody to get out of the classroom because of the new variant, the Omicron variant. So you got to deal with it, right? Rob says, again, it's amazing how people just want to hit home runs when there's a lot to be earned by little base hits here and there. I've always wanted to build a relationship before the sell around people who were shocked for blood right away. Exactly. It's like baseball, right? I want to be in the game. Walk, a bunt, a single, and look, I have to have a business. We have to make a living. We have to survive. I can't be a martyr to marketing, but I'm very fortunate that I have a skill set and a audience that wants to hire to have me speak, and I get paid well for that. So I'm very fortunate and very privileged that I can then also give these things away. I can buy books for people to send them a copy. I can send them socks of the Jackass Whisperer variety. I can give away this course, that type of thing. So I've just never been about the hustle. I've never been about everything has to have a price. And I understand perceived value. I mentioned it in my LinkedIn post, and I know people will start this course and never finish it. Okay. Doesn't cost me anything. Doesn't cost me to host. I guess the URL, the redirect cost me $20 a year, but we're fine. Saw you live a couple of years back and loved your messaging. Thank you. Glad to hear the Laurier Golden Hawks are a big part of the local community. I am a mentor for the Laurier. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. Cheryl, hi. I feel to stumble upon your live stream. Saw you at the writer's book camp. Oh my goodness. All right. So AWAI is a writers association, and it had to be one of my favorite events of all time. Not like favorite virtual talk I've done, favorite event period. The passion in that audience, the receptiveness, the eagerness, the love was, oh my goodness. I'm so happy to see you here, Cheryl. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here, and thank you. I'm glad you followed subscribe to the YouTube, so you saw the live. And I've never really focused on building YouTube and getting, subscribers or followers. And I've always done something called platforming, which is actually talked about in the course. And so I'm really happy with that. So thank you, Cheryl. You keep being amazing. Dude, that beard is approaching Gandalf level. Much respect. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just mostly out of laziness. I love the beard. I love having it. Allison loves the beard. So there you go. There's your there's your 2 check boxes. And anybody else, I don't care. But I do appreciate that. Look at this. Look at this. Look, there's Michelle from the Writers Boot Camp. There's EG coming back and saying hi, right? It's like, I'm telling you, that event was killer. I loved it. The only thing better would have been in person because they felt like a hug group. I'm a hugger. Now, mind you, pandemic, that changes a whole bunch of stuff. But in normal times, I love me some hugs. Love giving out. I love great people who are just in it to be together. And so there's a bunch of hugs I got to give out one day to people, including that one. I hope I get to go to one of those in person. Heck, I would attend it. I don't attend events because I would do, again, in normal times, I would do so many. It was just like I wouldn't go fly to an event because I want to be home. But I do like those folks. Rah! Love seeing this across the stream today. Final Sight, keynote. Love me some Final Sight, Rob. If you don't know Final Sight, go check them out. Great company. But, honestly, I don't necessarily care about Final Sight. I care about the people at Final Sight. And Rob's a leading example of that. Great human. Their whole team was great. But that's what I mean. I don't really care about companies. I don't, because I'm not the market for most of these things. I'm not the market for Final Sight. I'm not the market for AWAI, really, although we do right. I care about the people. I don't logos and companies and stuff like that. It's humans. And Robbie there too. And also, Rob has somebody in his family who's a DeMar DeRozan fan, and anybody who's a DeMar fan is a friend of mine. So that's very cool. It's very cool. Rob, let me know has your son seen him play? That'd be very cool to find out. Look, see, writers are talking to each other. Vasheka says, "Thank you for being you. I really appreciate you for sharing your gifts. Thank you." Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Like I said, this is why I love doing it. This is why we do what we do. Reza, could see. So though, one of my former students, way back in the day at Sheridan College, when I used to teach there, I seen you do your thing again, logged in late, but wondering if you're doing in-person talks again. I and some of my former classmates, your old students, would love to attend one. Yeah, so I've done in the past couple of months, I think I've done 5 in person overall, or 6. Around there. Everything's just in a state of kind of frozen right now. So, I do them when they come, but it's not the same right now. It's just, it's a lot. So, we do the gigs that come, and we do the virtual ones when they're virtual, and then we just reschedule the ones that need to be moved. But it would be real cool to see some of the great folks from my Sheridan days. I tell you, teaching at Sheridan I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite things I've ever done. It was just the problem of that. The UnMarketing came out, the first book, it took off, and I started missing classes to teach because I had to go speak at a conference. And one gig paid as much as one semester at teaching. Because I wasn't full-time tenured, I didn't have a master's and stuff, so it was just hard to justify it. But man, did I love teaching! Loved it. And Rob says DeMar should have gotten a ring. Yes. That's like the one thing. Is the fact that we had to trade him to win the ring. This ring in particular, it's not real. It's the replica Raptors ring. Yeah, I've been a Raptors fan since they announced the team was coming to Toronto, and it's a real tear because DeMar is Toronto. Like DeMar, like when free agency hit that year, he didn't take a call. 12:01, he signed back with the Raptors again, and to do him like that, that's rough. But Masai was right, and we got the chip, so it's big. Rob says, no, just to Live DeRozan, but you have challenged me now on LinkedIn, so that might have to happen. He has a sophomore year of his own season. Stay awesome. Nice. Where's he playing? Let me know. High school? College? NBA? Let me know. It'll be very cool. Tim, I missed your updates for a while. Great to see you back in my feed and with this great course offering. Well, look at it in the upcoming days. Oh, man. Good to see you, Tim. We went to high school together. Eugene says, always love your point of view as a North Star. Thank you. That's very kind of you. One of the biggest frustrations, especially when I was more in sales or fundraising directly, was that poor behavior spam on platforms like LinkedIn made potential connections harder to strike up in the same channels, and worse, make it less likely decision makers will spend. Well, let me pull it back up again. Will spend on the platform. How do you think about warming or forming relationships on LinkedIn to avoid getting lumped in as more LinkedIn spam? Or if that's too individual, what kind of public post trends would you like to call waste of the platform? What would you do instead? It's a really good question, Eugene. But honestly, I really, really think, with a few exceptions, I really think social media is an individual place. That I know brands are on there, and I know brands, and I'm a brand in theory, but social media is social to me. Brands can't be social. Brands aren't human. Now, there's a human behind a brand being social on the social media account, and there's some great examples, and there's the Wendy's and the Velveeta's and all. I get it. It's great. Well done. But honestly, I'm not here for it. I'm not on the platforms to talk to my toilet paper brand. I don't have a toilet paper brand. I just grab whatever's at the store as long as it's 2-ply or more. But I don't want to. I want to. If you're on LinkedIn as a brand and Eugene's running the account, I don't want to talk to the brand account that Eugene's running. I want to talk to Eugene on his account. That's what social is to me. And anything else is advertising, for the most part. But I've always felt that way. I've always felt that way since day one, since in all the books. I know it didn't answer your question, but it's just like there's nothing marketers haven't broken. Rob says, I also wanted to trade for Vince for the bench. That would have been, I also wanted, that was, we were talking about that a little while ago, me and a couple of the kids. I'm so fortunate that some of the kids, love sports and music like me. And I was telling them that, the exit that Vince had, and I'm sorry for us going off topic here for a bit, but then welcome to Scott's Brain. And you got me talking Raptors. Is that, when he left, it was on, Toronto booed him for a decade coming back, but I wasn't that mad at him, but ouch. It would have been nice to have him back too on the bench for that, but we also wouldn't do that to him. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, look, Vince at 40 can still dunk, like one of the greatest dunkers ever. And I'll fight you on that if you disagree. But, it's like, it would almost be like, it's not the same, I know. But it'd be like Emmitt Smith on the Cardinals or MJ on the Wizards. And I know it's not the same thing. I know. But it wasn't going to be right to have Vince come in and play 6 minutes or something. I still would have loved it. You know what? I'm lying. I still would have died to have Vince in his last run come back. Like, And he would have got a ring or something too? Come on. Ryan, looking forward to check out the course. Wish you happy holidays. The guy that got you the chairs from Staples Canada. Oh! Ryan, you're the best. You're the best. Oh, we were complaining on the show about chairs, the crappy studio chairs we had, and Ryan just comes in like a champ and gets us chairs from Staples to use on the show. Like that. See, there's an example of brand getting it. We mentioned it on the show. Ryan's a superhero. We get comfy chairs. And now he loves Staples. So there you go. Here's your equation. Eugene, that's a great answer, Scott. Appreciate the perspective. You're right. When people get inspired by a brand or product and social, it's the humanity behind they're connecting with, even if they don't know it. Brands may be people, but only humans are human. That's not a bad answer at all. Thanks. Good. Thank you. I sometimes speak out of my other end a lot of times, and but I do. I believe it. And I've started saying it on stage too. I've done the handful of gigs I've done in person past couple months has been, I look at them and whatever company I'm at, like if I was at, speaking to Marriott employees, I'd say I don't care about Marriott and the front row especially, or like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I care about you. I don't care about a building. I don't care about a logo. I don't care about a strategic plan. Do you? Like, really? Oh. I care about humans. I care about people. Yeah, I love products. I love services. And I love when they work right and everything else. Great. At the end of the day, we're all here together. And I just rather do that with good people. And be able to hang out with them and talk to them. How the heck have I talked for 42 minutes? My goodness. Anyway, yeah, so this, Rob, eventually we're just going to have our own basketball podcast together or something here. Thank you for all the thoughts and questions, and both Robs, by the way. Hirsch says, hey Hirsch, good to see you. I'm trained as a marketer, but as a consumer, I don't want a relationship with my toilet paper brand either. Thank you. Like, it just, I don't know if you would agree, Hirsch, but like it was fun at first. You know what I mean? Like back in the day way back in the day in like 2009 on like Twitter and stuff, that, when brands came on, like I still remember the first brand that tweeted back to me, because I sent a tweet out, and I think it was 2008 or so, and 2009. And I love Cirque du Soleil shows. I love most shows. I love Broadway. I love any Cirque show, except for if it's Humanity. I don't know what happened there. But I love Cirque shows. And I just sent a tweet. I just said, I love Cirque shows. I just seen another one in Toronto. I didn't tag them or anything like that. I just said, I love Cirque shows. And they just had a thing set up when the term Cirque was said. They wrote back and said, we love you too. And I got tingles. Like, it was so cool. It was so cool. Oh, the innocent days of social media. Rob says, I'm in as well. If you want to talk Yukon Huskies, I am. Oh, Huskies. Oh, we were so close. So I would take the two oldest boys. So Allison and I have 5 children. 3 youngest are hers, and the 2 oldest are mine. And so I would take my 2 boys, on a road trip every summer, and it was almost always sport themed. Usually tied around to like the one gig I got in the summer, because it's really dead in the summer. And we do a tour of, and so we did. I had a gig in LA one summer, and so we did a Padres game and a Dodgers game and an Angels game, and then we did a road trip where we went to. We drove to like Canton to see the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and now I've been to all of them, so it's awesome. That's a fun thing to do. And so we did Canton. We did a Steelers game. We drove up and around. We did an Erie Seawolves AA game, and we're coming. And then we also drove down to the next year. We drove down to Connecticut to do the Basketball Hall of Fame. That was our last one to get to, and we almost got kind of inside access to the Huskies facility, and just to see it. I just love seeing behind the scenes stuff. I don't got to bother players. I don't got to bother people. I don't need a selfie with somebody. I just love seeing how the sausage is made. That makes sense. I love just seeing training facilities, and it fell through though, but we were dying for that. Love to see Husky stuff. They're a great program. Yeah, Rob's in and Rob's in. Talk about, Yeah. So, and I never really followed college ball, both football and basketball, because being, for me, Canadian, we don't have the same thing of college athletics. It's not that we don't have good athletes here. Our post-secondary education structure doesn't focus on athletics. And so it never really became part of, at least for me, I'm not speaking as for Canada, I'm speaking from my experience as a Canadian. So I never really followed college ball in the States, but now I'm following it more. And now I've always rotated my favorite sport, like in my life, and now basketball is number one. And so I'm really looking at the college stuff because of the draft and stuff, and getting Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year. Rob says, love it. Father of the Year, 4 kids myself, did a little with all my kids during the travels. Good stuff. Awesome. And good afternoon to you, Sandra. And Rob says, I'm behind the curtain guy too. Tell me about the stories I couldn't see for myself. Yeah, exactly. That's also why I love documentaries and like nonfiction books. I love, the music industry books. I love Keith's Scar Tissue, the Chili Peppers, Anthony's book. And but all of them, like I've read so many music biographies. I think I've read every member of Guns N' Roses, but I only think Axl hasn't come out with a book. I'm not sure I want to read it, but it'll probably take him 14 years anyways to write it. But I love the behind the scenes, and for sports too. Like I have the entire 30 for 30 box set, and that's coming as for Canada, so we never got the broadcasts of it. Loved it. I've watched over 300 documentaries. I'd always watch them on flights. So yeah, behind the scenes is great. I love it too. It's so cool to see how all this stuff makes. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Right, Sandra. It's just, I find it fascinating. And for me, it's also why it's such a blessing to have for us is like YouTube, like so right beside me over here on our TV, we just have Apple TV and I just watch YouTube. Like literally, I can watch it all day. As a kid, like I was just a curious kid, and I've always had that curiosity. I just went and saw my mom a couple days ago, and like we talking about how I'd sit down and just read an encyclopedia, just flip through it and stop at stuff I found interesting. That's what YouTube is for me. That's what the internet was when I got on 95. That's what YouTube is for me now. It's a giant world of knowledge. Also, I can just laugh. I'm gonna watch a fail videos or something, but I love it. Hey, and Cheryl went to UConn. And speaking of backstage of the show, isn't that a line from they live starting Rowdy Roddy Piper? Cheryl, how did you even go up higher in my books? You know about They Live. Wow. I love it. Not many people mention that film. What a classic. What a classic. Yeah, it is a line. Okay, I'm going to get those glasses on to be able to see. Rob, got a bolt, but thanks for making the UnMarketing Academy free to all. Going to share it with the team. Awesome. Rob, good seeing you on here. And any updates I can find out about how your son's playing and doing, I'd love to see it. Let me know. That's great. Congrats. Amazing. Isn't it cool when your kids get older? For those of you who have kids, they start becoming an adult, and it just blows my mind. Like I've been a dad or stepdad for 22 years or so, and it's just cool. It's so cool them becoming adults and seeing them like, wow. It's and then they have different opinions, and you're just like, you're supposed, but my opinion's right. It's a very cool thing, a very interesting thing. All right, we're at almost 50 minutes here, almost going an hour, and I'm just blabbering. All right, again, thank you for coming by. Thank you all for jumping in. Thank you to all my AWAI people coming in and saying hey, to the Robs, to everybody, and Hirsch and Sandra, thank you for dropping in right at the end here, and Cheryl, it has been a pleasure. And the Michelles and everybody else who came. I appreciate you, Rob. No, because mine are in the teenage years, the blip in the path. Sure. Thanks for coming. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoy the course. But if you don't, whatever, it's free. What are you going to do? Get a refund? Take care.